dear. Is it Monday already? For us, the West Ham Network. Hope you're safe and well. Almost recovered from the Oasis concert on Saturday. Fucking hell. I am not 21 anymore. Jesus, it takes a lot to recover. As me and my wife said, we drank and danced like we were 21, but clearly with double plus some on Sunday. But anyway, West Ham helped somewhat to, ease me into the rest of the Sunday evening. We finished our summer series with a 2-0 victory against Bournemouth at Atlanta. And, looking at the summer series as a whole, I think it's been a worthwhile tournament to be involved in, or a series of pre-seasons, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. I think West Ham have done really well in terms of the activation. They've done, sort of player nights. They've done the boat along the river in Chicago. They did the pie and mash. They've done the taxi. I think, I haven't really looked at what Everton and Bournemouth and Man United have been doing, but I think they've done really well in terms of that from a fan engagement perspective. Obviously, loads of West Ham fans across the United States of America, and it was great to be able for them to see the game. And we've had many of you guys, American fans, who went to see them. I know Gary and various others went to see the boys. So yeah, I thought it's been a worthwhile experience. I think now, they'll be flying back to Rush Green. I imagine today. I would hope so, because they play in the BS Cup on Saturday. So then I am quietly confident that we'll see a lot of movement in and out. The likes of Caelan Casey, we know, are going to get on loan. I imagine Lewis Orford's going to go out on loan as well. And this week's probably the right time for them to go in order to have time to bed into their first team and bed into the squad they go to. We'll wait and see who destinations are various, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Lewis go this week as well, alongside Caelan, who we know he's going to probably go to Swansea City. So yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating to see what happens, ins and outs. And what we try and do is we try and dissect the game and come up with 5 things that we took from the match yesterday. And as I said, I've seen incremental improvements. I have. Man United game was really poor. Everton was a lot better, particularly the first half. I thought yesterday, for a lot of the ball was a lot of time the game was quite dire. I'll be honest, it really was. And then the brief chances we had, we were quite clinical with them. And we're going to talk about particularly one player's performance in terms of that. I'm sure you know who we're going to be talking about when it comes to assists and stuff. But let's start with our first one, and it is around Freddie Potts. Now, as I said last week, Freddie's ready. For me, Freddie is ready for the first team, and I think yesterday epitomised it. But, and I like big buts and I cannot lie, he needs an engine to work alongside him. Freddie's going to do that sitting role, that CDM role. James Ward-Prowse is not going to be the engine that allows him to do that work, and it will allow Lucas Paqueta to do the creative stuff as well. It is abundantly clear we need a box-to-box all energy midfielder to be alongside Mr. Potts. See, I don't even think Edson Alvarez is the answer to that. Edson Alvarez, to be honest, is what Freddie, I think, to be honest, when you looked at the side that he started with, which was very similar to the side we started with against Man United, I think the side we saw yesterday, bar 2 positions, is going to be the side that probably starts against Sunderland, bar any injuries or any sort of transfers. If we didn't sign anyone, that would be the 11 that starts, I would say. Possibly JWP for a Souček, maybe, just in terms of that aerial presence. But you've got Fulkrug, you don't really need that aerial presence. You've got the sort of the engine, so to speak, of Souček, which will carry on running. Souček engine will carry on running, but in second gear or third gear. It's not going to be all action. I would love, personally, my wish list would be someone like Conor Gallagher. I really would love Conor Gallagher alongside a Freddie Potts with a Paqueta playing in front of him. I just think we missed a trick when we could have got him and he went to Atletico Madrid. We really did. And it's in hindsight, it's a great thing. You go, oh, it was one loss. But actually, if we had a serious chance, he would have it would have not solved our midfield, solved it, but would definitely have improved it. Obviously, we're still linked with the likes of Onyedika. Again, he would be that type of box to box, something like Fofana. I would have loved, or someone like that. Just that sort of all business, all action, allowing Freddie can do his job. The midfield player, this box to box, can do their job. Freddie is a 6, someone as an 8, Paqueta is a 10. All those types of. That's how I would love that to happen. If it does, we'll see. We know that midfield is a priority. There's 2 priorities for me: the goalkeeper and we're going to talk about the goalkeeper in a minute. But this midfield, I think Freddie's ready, and he may decide to put. I mean, the thing is, Edson's just come back, so it'll be interesting to see what happens against Lille. I mean, to be honest, the starting 11 got 60 minutes together yesterday rather, which I think worked really well. Paqueta we're going to talk about Paqueta as well, but he got 90. He was substituted on the 90th minute. So did Bowen. Fulkrug got a good run out as well. Diouf got 90 minutes. Qielman got 90 minutes. Again, got 90 minutes as well, I think. Areola got 90 minutes. It's some good minutes in terms of fitness, and that's part of what you want. But for me, there's a lot of people in the chat going, "Oh, he hasn't brought Preston Fearon on. He hasn't brought this player on." Preston Fearon is going to be a fantastic player, but he's not going to play week in, week out. He isn't. Just isn't. Realistically, he's not. He's one for the future. And for me, pre-season is about getting pre-season. It's getting ready for the season. And, it's great giving them the opportunity, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, just get a bit of showcase. But it's not, for me, it's just about getting the team that are going to be playing regularly in the Premier League some minutes on the road, so to speak, some reps in the legs. And yeah, it was great to see Marshall coming on for a cameo. You would assume, someone like next week, Callum Wilson's going to be getting minutes. Be interested to see the reception he gets. And patterns of play for what's happening. Ollie will come on, and Ollie will be Diouf's understudy. We know KWP will be Aaron Wan-Bissaka's understudy, and then come January, those 2 will be playing. We do still need a centre half, in my eyes. Thinking 𝗙𝗑 would be away for AFCONs as well. Qielman could move to the side. You do have Mavropanos there, but whether there's an upgrade we can bring in, Harwood Bellis or someone like that to sort of be that 3rd man, that 4th man, particularly with the AFCONs. But anyway, Freddie needs an engine. Not for him, but next to him. He can go. I mean, you saw again a different side of Freddie as well. You saw the more combative sides. I thought yesterday some good passes, some ones that didn't land. Weren't perfect, but and he was interviewed during the match, which I don't really like. And he just sounded like Declan Rice. It was mental. And he's got a very level head in him. And I don't want to put too much on Freddie now, because he could be in our midfield for the next 10 years. He could be the next Mark Nadel. He could be a one-man club. He could be. So, we've eased him in terms of these 2 loan spells. He's come back a man. He left the boy, came back a man. He's got the West Ham heritage behind him. He ticks a lot of boxes for that. He's got a combative side. Part of his game might develop. When Deck started, he was a CDM and he developed into a box-to-box. I think Freddie's got it in his locker. Definitely got it in his locker in terms of being able to bring the ball forward a bit more. His passing. He was sometimes it was quite sharp. But there was some nice. There was one pass in the first half where JWP thought it was going to him, and he put his arms up because he thought it was a shit pass. But as it wasn't, it was a pass to Bowen, and he didn't see that. JWP didn't see the pass. It was going to Bowen, and little things like that. I think it'll be all right. Anyway, that's like 10 minutes to talk about Freddie. Let's talk about the goalkeeper. We need a new goalkeeper. We need someone who's going to compete with Areola. I think that will screw his head back in. I think since the Zurich game, he ain't looked right at all for me. He's looked totally like someone who's the screw has just turned and the screw's just a bit loose at the moment, and he's just like not claiming for things. He's running about. It was one in the first half yesterday where he sort of looked like he was walking in treacle, and it was like, I think we were lucky because they hit the post a couple of times. Let's be honest, there was a good save he did, like a reaction save where he got his arm out in second half after it hit the crossbar, or hit the post. But there was a bit in the second half where his concentration just switched off, and he took it on his knee, then took a touch, and he was so relaxed with the ball. I thought the ref had blown up that it was offside or something like that. That's how relaxed he was with the ball. And if Evan Nilsson was angled a bit different, that would have gone him. This week we will get a new goalkeeper. I am 99% sure. Maybe even 2. I don't think we'll get 2. I think the Victor thing is very much a thing trying to force the hand of Mads Hermansen in terms of Leicester City. Suzuki, I think it'll be an interesting purchase, and I think they would prefer Suzuki in all honesty, in terms of being a good goalkeeper, but marketability. You make your money back on him from a marketing perspective, and he's a good goalkeeper and he can play with his feet. But I think Hermansen makes more sense. Hermansen is a safer choice in my eyes. I think that's what you want, a safer choice. You've got a bit of a maverick here with Areola, which anything can happen, which I quite enjoy sometimes, but it frustrates me. Victor, I still think that's a false bid just to try and force hands of others. We've done it all the time. And I'm sure Sullivan, as well as he's got friends with Salthouse, I'm sure he's friends with Willie Mackay as well, who's the super agent involved in that Victor deal. So it doesn't surprise me, because Man United looking for a new goalkeeper, and Newcastle just signed Ramsdale, which is good. So that gives us pretty much a free hit at Hermansen. Really Newcastle are the only other side who are really looking for a new goalkeeper. So you've got to think everyone else has sort of got a new goalkeeper or got a number one where we aren't. So we pretty much have a clear run at him. So hopefully we can get that sorted. One thing we have sorted is the left-hand side. Now, for me, last year, it was all down the right-hand side. Left-hand side wasn't enough. There wasn't enough down there. It was too lopsided. But with Diouf, we have got a cheat code. Both of the goals came from his crosses. And I think what we've had on the right-hand side of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, that sort of attacking prowess, we've now got on the left-hand side. I think we have got a very special player here. I think he's going to get half a dozen assists next season, at least. Maybe even double figures assists. Who knows? From those crosses, he whips them in, and they are very hard to deal with. And if Fulkrug does the right run, or Bowen at the back post, I think there's a lot more to come with him. A lot more to come. And he plays with a smile on his face. And I love that. He seems to be linking up now nicely already with the likes of Aguerd behind him. Obviously, does he speak French as well? I think he speaks. I think they both speak French. I believe so. There's that. You've got Paqueta. He's, Fulkrug loves him because as I said, that first interview Fulkrug gave this season, he was saying how when Diouf signed, he went up to him straight away and said, "Look, I've been watching loads of tapes of you and your goals. You I love crossing. You love heading. I know where you want it. You want it between the sort of the front post and So he's, as I said, I don't see him as a 20-year-old bloke. He seems a lot older, more wiser beyond his age, and so I think that's a good one. I think that's going to be a good one. I really do. And he's in my fantasy football league team because I think he's going to get some assists. Someone else I think is going to get assists and looks like a completely new signing in the last 2 games, I reckon, in my opinion, is this man. He looks a different player, absolute different player. And it's what we need. We need this Lucas Paqueta back. We need the Lucas Paqueta we signed all those many years ago. And he seems to have the swagger back. Now, that's got to be the thing about his swagger is it's great, but sometimes it's like I'd like you to read it a little bit just because you're so much ahead of where everyone else is thinking. I think we've seen a different type of Lucas Paqueta at the moment. I think what we're seeing also is Lucas Paqueta not having to do that defensive work as much. He, for me, was a lot more forward in that 10 role rather than that 8 role. And that's where he is best for West Ham. He wants to be involved in everything, but again, I was reminiscent of, when he was running around not like a headless chicken, but everywhere. Very reminiscent of when Tevez first signed for us and literally was running around, just wants to get involved in everything. I think Curbs then basically went, "You stay there," and then we got the Carlos Tevez who basically kept us up. I think that's the same with Paqueta now. If you get Freddie Potts, someone with an engine next to him, not JWP, too pedestrian for my in terms of what that role needs. Then Paqueta can be more effective in terms of that 10 role. And as I said, we've put £60 million head, on his head. Yeah, the only sides I think could come in would be the Saudi Pro League sides for him. And whether he'd want to do that or not, who knows? I wouldn't necessarily assume for this year because it's a World Cup year. And so he'd want to be playing for the best in the best league, which is the Premier League, in my opinion, and playing regular football, which he would do at West Ham. The likes of City and that won't be. I don't think they'd put 60 million or 50 million, 55 by the end. We probably knowing us with our negotiation skills on the table for a 27, 28-year-old who still has a couple of charges, which could mean he might be banned for a game or a big fine as well. So I think he's. I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything. Actually, I was going to say I think he's safe until January at least, but I'm not going to even say that. All right, touch wood. And finally, let's talk about defence. A clean sheet. West Ham kept a clean sheet. When do we ever keep clean sheets? But a very rare clean sheet by West Ham. And to be fair, looking at the side, looking at the starting back five, who got pretty much 60 minutes as a back five or back six if we kill Areola, but I still think we'll have a new goalkeeper in goal by the time we play Sunderland. That's our back five, our starting back five, bar anyone like a Gerd leaving, which I can't really see happening now unless a club want to stump up 20 million quid for him. To be honest, he ain't done, I think he's done well the last 2 games. And actually, if people are thinking about buying him, I think he's done a good job putting himself in the shop window, in all honesty. I think he played quite well yesterday. A couple of times he got done, to be honest, by David Brooks. He's a very slippery character, but Kilman got done a couple of times by him as well. I thought defensively we were reasonably strong, everything in the box. We dealt with quite well. What I like about Gerd is he likes the ball at his feet. I think he loves the diag. I think Todibo he's good on the ball with feet as well. I think Kilman, they play well as they could play well as a 3. I thought the way Gerd and Diouf linked up was nice. We know Todibo and Wan-Bissaka link up well because they've had all last season together. I still think with, there's a couple of nutmegs from JCT, and I think to me, if he stays fit, we've got a fucking good player on our hands in terms of Todibo, and we'll see the reason why we've spent all that money on him. I think we saw glimpses last year, but he was in and out, he was injured, and by his own admission, he wasn't 100%. He seems to be 100%. He seems to be fit. Seems to have dropped a bit of weight as well. He's put the nose plasters on, albeit the metal one. So he's getting more oxygen. And he's not snoring at night. But I just think it's starting to click. I know it's me. I know I'm optimistic. I know I piss people off. I know I'm a glass half full. I know I'm claret glasses. I know I'm going to get ripped to shreds in the comments, but it's my opinion. I'm not gaslighting. It's my opinion, what I think. And, if you don't want to be, if you're thinking differently, that's your prerogative. I'm not. I've always, take the off. I've always been optimistic. That's me as a West Ham fan. I mean, to be honest, we're all closet optimists if we say it or not. The fact is, until a couple of years ago, we won fuck all for 40 years, but you still support the same fucking club, didn't you? And so I'm the same and always have been. And I'm not unapologetic about it. I'm not apologetic about it. I'm unapologetic. That's it. And yeah, we'll see what happens against Lille at the BS Cup. Be interesting to see in front of our own fans how well we respond. Because away from home, we tend to be, it's the home form which was a major issue for us, I think, last year. And so let's see how Potter responds to the home crowd now, because I think he's changed things around a little bit. the team. I mean, Füllkrug seems lean. Another goal from him as well. And even like his little jig at the end, that's clearly an in joke between the team, and I fucking love it that I'm not involved in it. It harks me back to, when the band played, and Fornals and Rice and Lingard and Bowen, they all played in the band, and stuff like that just shows me that there's a real togetherness in that squad, and that togetherness is going to gain you half a dozen points across the season. When times are tough, that team spirit really brings through, and as we're led to be believed, that is something that Falkirk, they're all saying the same thing about having a side so together, in all my career and that type of thing. And as I said, from first-hand experience, well, not first-hand, but second-hand, from a friend who had first-hand experience of the motivational speaking of Potter, and I quote what he said. After he had this presentation to everyone, not just the players, but all the staff were there at the first day of the season, first day of pre-season. He said, "I felt like fucking 10 feet tall." So if that's how he thinks, how must the players think under his tutelage? I don't know. We'll wait and see. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what 5 things you thought came out of the game. And we'll be back with lunchtime headlines. Much love. Take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay on 𝗙𝗩𝗘 𝗧𝗛𝗓𝗡. Come on, you fucking irons. Come on.